prior organization I was working for, I was in a management role. I used to bring that stress and those things home with me. And my wife used to say, okay, great. What Doug's going to walk through the door? What problems were you faced with today?
There's such an opposite of what we do. It was burnout of trying to advance. Now we're like trying to slow down.
It's a different culture. It's a different environment. I'm not in a position where managing 30 people and trying to keep them highly efficient and accountable. There was a lot of cultural change that I was trying to influence there. Well, that pressure it started to weigh on me over time. You have people in the wrong seats and you can't steer the ship. Where here, we've got people in the right seat. We've got a lot of great things going on and we're selling and we're supporting. And I love that element. So when I walk through the door at night, my wife will be like, how'd you do today? How'd it go today? Who'd you work with today? What deals you knocked down? It's a different conversation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Never in Reverse. Always moving forward, at least I am. Doug's just getting out of the rack bright and early.
No, been up and at it. Got to have the coffee to, keep the engine running today.
Right to they should put this thing up on a little IV bag and just run that cord in.
Just put it in me. In me.
We probably need this thing a little bit bigger for you and me.
Yes, yeah, no doubt.
You need a constant drip, automatic refill.
Well, with us, Folgers is putting on a second shift because what we consume.
Second, buddy. I think they run out of shared pods at the grocery store once a week.
Yeah.
Welcome, though, guys. I'm your host, Jeremy Axel, co-host Doug Cox. What's up, Doug?
Good morning.
Yeah, bright and early, guys. We had to kick this one off early. It's what is it? 6 o'clock my time, 6:30 my time, 5:30 Doug's. He had 9 alarms, guys, just to give you some insight to get him out of the rack. It was a lot.
Yeah, and you called me
this morning.
Yes, you called me this morning. Your pocket dialed me something. Oh, don't worry about it now.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm
going, what are you doing? I'm like, leave me alone. It's my time.
I was above the butt dial, dude. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It happens.
I looked at when I was looking. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I hit something. I was trying to get you out of the rack.
I know. That's what I figured. You're checking in on me.
Yeah, exactly. How's everything go, man? How's your week? Burned through this
good
week?
It's been long week, but good week. Just it's just it's a sprint, and then you get to the weekend and it's like you try to take that time to relax, spend some time with the family, and then Sunday rolls around and it's like got to gear up, get ready to go for Monday. Yep.
Yeah,
but
I know, right?
It's just the lives we're in right now.
We're gonna roll into that topic of the speed that we're moving at and what we need to make sure. We're talking about burnout and like how to avoid that, the antidote to burnout, right? Like it's that topic is I would say it's probably my biggest struggle, and I see it actually in you a lot.
Well, and both of us. I mean, like when you're traveling, you're running and gunning, and I can tell, when you're tired, you're exhausted, and it's hard to keep the candle burning at both ends. It is. And it catches up to you. And then then it doesn't become fun. It doesn't become exciting. And you find yourself just going, oh gosh, I got to get up and go through the motions versus like, hey, today's going to be an exciting day. Got some good things going on. I got some meetings booked. I mean, you lose the thrill of, especially for us, the environment we're in, if you're just constantly running and gunning.
Yeah. And I think let's step back and kind of reset this now. What I think I want the viewers to understand is, first of all, join us, guys. We want you guys to be part of this journey. We want to learn from you guys. Secondly, we kind of do 3 segments every show. It's like kind of professional side, family side, and then kind of blending a little bit of personal and how we deal with that on a personal level. So just kind of give you guys an idea of, if you've seen, on their, I don't even know what show we're on, 15, 16, something like that, but just that process is kind of how we want to interrelate, because it's kind of what people face on a daily basis, right? Like I think it's all a blended scope. If you have a family or significant others, you'll relate more. If not, at some stage in your life, you'll understand, and that's okay. But we're going to bring the burnout sector into improving and what it means to the team. I think that, showing up as the best version of yourself with your team is a responsibility that I think is important. However, I'm horrible at it. I just keep pushing myself, even when I'm tired, even when and I feel like I've done enough. Even, I mean, I make every excuse under the book to not worry about myself, and I'm gonna be. I don't lead well here. I don't. I'll be very open. I'm very good at just going through it, and probably a lot of times I would say that if I could give a betterment of myself in those moments, and show up wholeheartedly where I can give 100% to certain things, I know that it would improve everything around me. So
Well,
probably,
and even us on the team, I don't mean to cut you off, but when we see, and I've talked to, other colleagues here about this a little bit. And it's, when you're working early in the morning or late at night, we feel like we need to be there, coincide with you, or we need to get these things addressed as you're bringing them up. Well, it creates some anxiety, right? It creates some unnecessary pressure. And I know you don't mean it in that fashion, but it's just on us on the receiving end. I know for me, it's like, oh gosh, I got to get on this. I got to get him an answer. I'm so accustomed to that, in the work cultures and environments that I was in before. It was like when something was asked, you got to get an answer.
yeah.
But I'm talking outside of business hours, and it just creates some unnecessary stress, unnecessary friction. And I know you don't come off that way, but these are compounding things that can eventually lead to this topic. And like we're talking about, the burnout, right? To where you always got to have this business sense, the switch turned on.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think that what for me to step up and make an excuse is I'm looking at 5 years down the road. I'm a futuristic guy. Like, hey, where's the next step for us to make sure that we're not stepping too close to where we're currently at? We're stepping leaps and bounds. And so I get my own fault in my own entrepreneurship. I look at these things so far down the road that I want to try to solve those issues today to ensure that we have a better process going forward. And I call them data dumps where I'm doing emails and stuff. I'm trying to get them to where I schedule them for the next day, to be honest with you. So if you see things hitting 8 a.m. or whatever, that's because I'm just scheduling it. And I'm doing it so you guys aren't feeling that. And sometimes I don't have the freedom to be creative, or my days are a little bit different than yours. They come in big waves.
Exactly.
Yours come in consistent processes, but then, I think it's still, I need to create more balance for myself because it'll give me more peace. And I think that peace, not contentment, peace. What I mean by peace is like, we're okay with where we're going and we're doing it in a consistent manner. We don't have a risk of burnout. We don't have a risk of I don't want to be stagnant. Like, that's never going to happen here. It doesn't flow well in me because I just like moving in the right direction and seeing success and failing, and if that's what you call it, as failure. I like seeing that, but I think there's also balancing and sacrifices around making sure that we're not going too fast or too slow, too hard or not hard enough. Like, that's still something I'm working on as a person, to make sure that we're all. But one thing I do know is, like, as we bring people on and we've done that, if I start seeing lackadaisical elements that will hurt us in the 5 years from now, here's what the expectations are. If you don't like that feeling, I'm out. Like, I don't want to.
You don't want those things. You don't want to set those expectations that could hold us back, right? That's. And it's just everybody playing their part and in their role, and I've come to, understand better, when you're working in these, I call them shoulder hours, right? Before business hours, after business hours. And I've learned to just kind of let things go. I know it's like you have disruption in your day because you're managing many different facets. And it's like, okay, I know you're engaged in this element of this right now and you're trying to tackle it. You're trying to get it done. So for me, I've learned, being, part of the company now in the organization for a while, that where my time and focus are urgent in the moment or not, in those shoulder hours. Right. But it just comes with understanding in those elements of it. But
yeah. And I think we both you and I, we wear a lot of personal pride, and I think sometimes that's a bad thing, right? We just put ourselves to the side and allow that to continually happen no matter what. Even if I see it in you at times where I'm not responsible for that. You are, and I watch you and you're doing the same thing that I've done, because we're like, hey, it's a compound effect of what can happen. And And we're seeing that. And it's like, man, if you let it get too far down the road, because we're actually, our processes and improvement are still not in tandem with the you. We're still kind of catch up a little bit because of our transition.
Yeah.
We need to get ahead, and we're doing it in some areas and not in other areas. And so my point is that we can both improve on that. But it's also like we have a personal responsibility, we have a home responsibility. We enjoy the success and winning. Like we always have these things that we're going through, and we never. I think that we wear that so personal that sometimes I make excuses. I know that, like, hey, and even if I'm dead tired, dude. Mine's but, or you have a good customer coming in and you're like, dude, this is a hot one. You stop your mind. Everything that you think is true about this conversation goes out the window, and we're going.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I know it.
Well, it's the sales part of it, right? There's that element where it's like the thrill of the kill, right? I mean, you get excited about like the opportunity and what it could potentially be. And it's like you see these opportunities arise, and it's like, I got to get on this. I got to call them. Right now, in the moment.
And I think, though, the one thing that we got to figure out how to get a sense of internally is just the emotional well-being and the status of us as people, instead of like, oh, we just push through it. It's another workout in the morning. Like we've done in college football. Like, we got this. I know it's hard, but you and I just sort of have that mentality. It's like, nah, man, I can push through this. No problem. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, hey, maybe my body or it's saying something to me. Maybe I'm trying to, what if it's creating more conflict in the workplace? What if I'm bringing that home? What if I'm emotionally unavailable to my kids because I'm so tired? We'll dive into that here next. There's parts of me that have been dark as night, honestly.
You touched on a point, like when we were playing college football, and especially you always felt like you were fighting your position. So you played through injury, right? And it's like you sucked it up, you played through it. You played hurt, you did whatever you did. You didn't want to lose your spot on the field because you knew there's a guy standing on your heels waiting for their opportunity. And it's, in a lot of ways, it relates to that in business too. We play through injury. We know it's a competitive space, it's a competitive world, and we don't want that failure because we know somebody's going to be there. They're standing at our heels ready to go.
Exactly. And that's how I think you and I unless you've been in that, or new in your career, wherever part of stage of life you're in. The thing is we've created some pretty strong habits, I would say, that we almost were forced to, but we'll dive into kind of some, transition to that, how this burnout or process flows from the work into the home life. And I think the antidote for me in the work life needs to, we'll touch on that for me, what needs to happen on the personal side at the last segment of our episode. But we're going to take a quick short break, you guys. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in with us. Don't forget, we have a YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Instagram, find Doug on there, not me.
On Instagram. On the gram.
Hey,
on the gram, baby.
Doug's he's a grammer.
I'm a TikToker. No.
I think TikTok's gone, dude. I just looked.
I don't have TikTok.
Social media guys, like, subscribe, comments. We'd love to hear from you guys. Want to know your experiences on everything that we're talking about. We're here to learn. We're not great at it. So, but let's take a quick break, guys, and we'll be back here shortly. We appreciate it. Thanks. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for letting us take a quick short break. It's
early. Coffee cup.
I didn't. Yeah, you might have. I didn't. I wish I would have got. Yeah, I'm gonna order one of those IV bags, Spud.
Yeah. Jeez, just coffee on speed dial.
Yeah. So we're talking, guys. Let's dive back into this. We're talking about the antidote of burnout. You know what Doug and I use? Folgers.
Jet fuel.
Let's get real here.
Not Folgers. I used to be able to drink Folgers. My parents still drink that. I don't know. Maybe I probably should talk about it.
I was asking you about that. You told me that's what you guys, Folgers in your cup. I go, dude, that's straight out the bottom of the crate.
Best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
American Idol here, the voice.
Well, I thought we were doing a little karaoke sesh on today's episode.
How many tall boys? We call these tall boys, guys. Just so you know, when we go to Starbucks, Doug and I go on road trips. we don't go Vente. We call them Tall Boys. We're gonna have them rebrand.
Yeah, you got to see the looks we get.
Tall Boy.
Yeah, tall boy. Yeah.
Yes. But we're gonna dive into the family side, and this is gonna be around conflict and emotional availability. And I mean, Doug, I'll let you kind of start this side off.
Oh, thanks.
I think the openness around where you're at in the world, do you feel if we have a hard day or whatever, we're traveling a lot, being more open and vulnerable and how your state of presence is better to reduce stress in your home and maybe give some people some understanding, including your wife, like, hey, maybe I need to step up a little bit for a day or so. Are you good with that stuff?
I've gotten better at it. When I first, joined the team, I felt like I had to. I can't run at your pace. I'll be honest with you. And if anybody knows Jeremy personally, I mean, the guy is wound up tight. He's always running. He's always going. He's always thinking, and then it's like you hit the shut off switch, and like we've seen it where we've traveled and we go. And then we get home and I'm trying to play catch up on the work stuff. And I've gotten better at, I know I can't run at your pace. I'm not as high revved RPMs as you, and I've gotten better at when I get home or those moments, and you've seen it. I've expressed it to you. I'm beat. I'm tired. I'm done, and then I'll hear it from you. And my wife, she knows I need to unplug from this. And if I don't, that I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to burn out. I'm going to be tired and it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be enjoyable anymore, and she reminds me all the time that you may not accomplish these things outside of business hours. Why are you worrying about it? And I constantly have this reminder to myself that, can it wait or does it have to be addressed now? Can it wait?
But what do you, I'm saying about, like, let's just think about, like, you come in and you have a hard day, just being super vulnerable with your family. Like, hey guys, my tank is kind of empty. I'm not going to be the best to be, like, are you good at that? To make sure the family isn't, you're not, because I've seen people, fathers and stuff like that, drag things in, they get quiet. And then it sets the tone for the whole family. I've done this, right? And you're just, and the presence is not a present. You're just struggling and you don't have a true outlet, or you haven't been connected to your guy buddies where you can go out and just get kind of a baseline reset, any of these things that happen. Because I think you and I with everything that's going on and running a house and all that stuff, sometimes we forget about those little things that, I went and got a massage the other day and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, that was it. My neck felt like it was going to fall off because I'm sitting there, I'm keyboard hero all day long. And I'm like, dude, I tapped out. I'm like, it was 3:00. I'm like, if I don't, I might be in the ER from this neck pain. So I went down to the mall and that guy just he said, you want your feet done? I said, give them to me.
Yeah. While you're there.
You want your hands done? I said, give me that. I said, take me take my whole body to massage. And he ripped me. But my point is like, and I was like, man, that was some self-care. And I'm like, I just don't do that enough. Like, I got it. It's not a big deal. I don't want to spend the money, or what, we make all these excuses along the way instead of just taking little wins, but I think the burnout, you and I just in our homes is important to be open, be transparent to your wife, make sure that you're showing up with your kids. If you need to step out, we need to make sure that there's no resentment to the burnout because we're not communicating correctly to our family. Because what can happen is as family struggles can kind of, because there's a lack of communication and understanding where we might sit and we're leading the pack, right? They're coming to us and we're going, we're showing up not full. And I think it takes the other side of the spouse is being like, hey, I can see you. I think you need something for yourself. And they also have to understand in that moment is like, they're going to have to give a little bit more to get back to kind of a center line instead of being resentful or saying you had all day, or because I've seen that, or I've experienced some things in my relationship where there's maybe some resentment on one side and maybe, they're not giving enough space or you're not allotting enough time to yourself to show up correctly at home. Mm-hmm. So then you're trying to do it outside of the hours you should be taking care of yourself or whatever that looks like. So then your spouse or significant other can get resentful for. So I think it's this kind of this balance. I mean, and it's hard to do.
And it's just, you come through the door and my wife and I, my prior, organization I was working for, I was in a management role, I think, as I've explained before. And I used to bring that stress and those things home with me. And my wife used to say, okay, great. What Doug's going to walk through the door. Right.
Oh yeah. When you got hired, when you came here,
Ooh.
her and I talked, and I just wanted to let her understand my style. So she was well aware what you were getting into, but
Yeah.
she just said it's not even, and it was such an opposite of what we do, that it was burnout of trying to advance. Now we're like trying to slow down.
Well, no, and it's just it's a different culture, it's a different environment. I'm not in a position, where managing 30 people and trying to keep them highly efficient and accountable.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of cultural change that I was trying to influence there. Well, that pressure it started to weigh on me over time, because sometimes you have people in the wrong seats and you can't steer the ship.
Yeah.
Where here we've got people in the right seat. We've got a lot of great things going on, and we're selling and we're supporting. And I love that element, of the position that I'm in. So when I walk through the door at night, my wife will be like, how'd you do today? How'd it go today? It's a different conversation. It's not, okay, what problems were you faced with today? It's about, okay, who'd you work with today? What deals you knocked down? What new customers? It's just a different element,
I think there's part of that too, is like, you're right. But in our family, to keep it more practical around the families, like, it's important to make sure that as we step through the door, the day is different and the energy audit is different. And it's because the workload is so, in a positive way, sometimes it drowns us out. And I think that can be leading to burnout, even though it's super positive. So we got to have this like master reset, I think, once a week, where we're like, hey, get this in on.
Breathe.
Hey, listen, you guys gave me the week to get, because we're not going to solve the world's problems on Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm saying that, but I use those days sometimes for a couple hours a day to get reset, so that I actually can be super focused on critical tasks.
Organized going into the next week. Yeah, no. And I watch my dad, as he, in the companies and organizations that he was ownership or part of, those requirements of a business owner are different, and there are, those shoulder hours, maybe a couple hours on a weekend. I saw him go through that as well, and I think that's just, it's that fear of failure. It's that, you want to make sure that everything's in order, but again, it has to be, but one of the things, and I wanted to touch on this here a moment ago, we talk about at home, right? So I have 4 kids. We never go out to eat for dinner. We cook and we sit at the dinner table and we converse around our dinner table a lot, and my wife here probably, I don't know, it's probably been 7 or 8 years ago. She started this deal at the table called High-Low Buffalo, right? So we go around the table and we start with one person every night as we're sitting there, and we'll start with maybe the youngest. Okay, give me your high-low buffalo. Your high is what was the good thing today, what was your low, and what is your so-so, right? So it kind of brings a smile to my face, when we talk about these things, because you go around the table and you hear it from your kids what their days were like, and maybe get a sense of where their stress levels are, and where then you can see where it helps them, or they go, oh shoot, mom and dad are beat, they're tired, they're done, so they get a sense of where we're at with our day. We get a sense of where they're at with their day, and we get a chance to talk it out. But it's been a healing thing for me. As quirky as it sounds, but it's been great just in that little bit of dialogue around the dinner table.
Yeah, and I think rolling from that, the repercussions of just if you're not doing these little micro things with your family, or giving like audits, I call it like, an energy audit. And my energy audit, even if my tank's low, man, I usually don't let myself show that. I just kind of like grind through it, and it's my own issue. It's a bad habit that was formed from collegiate sports, and just having the grind mentality. Like, you're not going to break me, it won't break me, right? Like, the issue with that chronic burnout and or whatever, whatever you're going through is, man, sometimes you can get into a sense of, I would say, you're kind of facing yourself at a daily basis and not allowing the world to happen around you, you're kind of, sometimes you get in your own way and you start doing you're messing with your mind, or you're resentful towards a situation. And then that thing can start spiraling out because you don't have the emotional, or you're so fatigued, your capacity to
Well, and you just wind up putting your energy in the wrong places at the wrong times, and then you're not, and we've all done it, where you just don't take that time to, again, can it wait, or does it have to be addressed now?
Yeah,
and it's okay to let it wait.
I think the thing though is recognition of don't let yourself get down too far. I've gotten to a spot where I was in a really dark spot, just not taking care of myself, and then my family are getting the breadcrumbs, and I was okay with that. I was basically deflecting everything away from myself and saying it's not my issue, and showing up and giving 5% to them and 95% to here, and 0% to myself, right? Like the buckets were just way too offset. So recognizing that early on, or if you're feeling that way, like, listen, hey, I got to take a breather. I'm going to go walk out. If I miss a phone call, send me an email. Tell me, like, okay, I can't be everything to everyone at all times. It's just,
right.
That doesn't work. I think where people make the mistakes is sometimes I've made mistakes on my energies. Like, listen, 100% here, or 95 and 0, or 95, 5 and 0. That's a big mistake over time. What happens is actually everything, it wasn't working together. And even though we might see the business side, but it still didn't get 100% because I was not feeling angry and not feeling good about myself and not taking care of my family. And so even though I'm putting 95% of my time and thinking here, it was probably getting half of that in a positive light, right? Like,
right.
So I think it's just understanding that and going, hey, listen, this isn't balanced. You're not going to be perfectly balanced, but give me a 5% delta, like, get close. And if you don't, you're going to start pushing, it's like a pendulum. You're 95. Well, that's not good.
Glass half full.
You want everything to kind of, if a ship's all the weight's on one side, it's going to tip over, right?
Yep.
So, and then it's going to sink. So get that pendulum kind of in this harmonious balance so that you can attack the day. And that's on my end. I need to be better about that and create more micro habits, like we talked about prior in another episode. Is just like restructuring those habits and being okay with it, and being like, if that a thought comes up, like, yeah, but sit in that moment.
It's where those moments in time get the best of you, not what's left of you. Right.
If it's like this, you're getting nothing.
You're getting nothing.
I don't have enough momentum to bring it down. And so then what I was doing, man, I got stuck. And I was in this, I had a mind block. I literally couldn't get back. It was so off that I couldn't even.
Does Jess get a good sense, like, when you're going through these moments? I mean, does she mention, like, hey, I see it in you, or I feel it in you, or
done, but I used to not even let her just be honest. And
you ignored it.
No, she would do it. I just make excuses. But now I'm like, hey, you're right. Like, you're right.
Yeah.
I got to honor her.
She
sees me
need you too.
Better than I can see myself in the moment. You and I can roll our sleeves up and be like, hey, yeah, but, because we're making sure that Monday, Tuesday, whatever is happening, if we're traveling or things are coming in at a rate that are hard, we don't want that to start catapulting and get this offset. But then, we can't have the other side either, where it's like, so there's this, we just got to have this balance. And that's what I've been trying to coach you on, is like, listen, just take the good.
Yeah. I've seen family friends even, that men and women both, that are so just ingrained into their careers.
Yes.
That nothing else in their personal lives matter. Like that, their social network, their, things they like to do, they forfeit, they give up on, and I've done some of that. And like this year, I want to get back to playing golf again, but I feel like as we continue to get in a better spot, where like a Friday afternoon and my buddies call me up, want to go play golf and get back into that social time with them, to get that reprieve, to
show up better at home.
And then come home and how was golf? It was awesome. Had so much fun.
Yeah.
Or it just
up here, like, it was a great weekend, and because that's exactly right. And
then you come into a Monday going,
let's go.
Awesome weekend. Gosh, it was was beautiful, so much fun, so much this, and then you come into a Monday recharged, excited.
And you're going, I'm back in it, and all this is empty. My family and myself are empty, but I'm here doing 90%, doing all the work. Get it like this. So it's like,
yeah.
Then it's like, if you're here and you do something for yourself good in your family, it goes right here.
Yep.
And then you're gonna give more here, and then it's gonna go back. It's just like this. So you're just actually gonna be providing more, and you're not gonna be, I think it also comes to you and me as like our self-worth and overcommitting and, the disassociation of like, yeah, we can get through it. I think we just got to figure out these little micro habits and make changes that, I'll speak for myself is like, I've gotten, believe it or not, I'm way better. And I'm understanding that the world doesn't get solved on a Saturday or Sunday. I can use those moments to help myself get to the spot that I need to, but I don't need to abuse my family or myself.
No, and I've seen a big change in you, in since joining in the last like 6 months. Like we text each other and talk to each other even on the weekends, and you'll send me pictures of you, Jess, and the boys out doing something, sledding or whatever it may be, and I'm like, okay, good. And I'm happy to see you do that because I know you all too well. I've known you since we were 19 years old, and you are just laser focused all the time, and I appreciate seeing the pictures of you taking a breath and the time with your family because I know you need it too. And we share a lot of these things on the weekends, of just our moments, it's good for them. It's good for us.
And I think it's just important to this topic is I would say it's such a raw spot for, I know you and and we just can learn a lot here. I think that you being you like to please the situation a lot, and that can learn to personal fatigue. And I just make excuses along the way to just turn and burn. And I think that this is a good topic for viewers to be like, hey, listen, here's something. I know what you're going through. Here's some things that I've experienced, and here's what I've done over the last 5 years to reset and structure my family. Like I think this is a great opportunity for me to learn. I want to learn from people and like, hey man, just hit like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think there's just this path of life when you become a father and a business owner and you're just in this high frequency career, whatever we're doing, it's like
head down and go.
We're providers. We want to get our head down and go. We want to make sure there's food on the table, but there's also other things that outside of that happen. And I think,
but at the end of the day, and I think, the work culture in general has lost focus of what are we working for? Truly. At the end of the day, we in our careers, we want to be recognized, but at the end of the day, what are we doing? It's to live a lifestyle we want to live. That's why we do what we do. And if you're not in the right seat and doing what you like to do to live the lifestyle you want to live, you're in the wrong seat.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
we're hard. That's a hard, you're exactly right. I think what's happened though is there's been such a disconnect from the cost, and I feel like people are in these weird stressful moments that they can't even be part of that journey. And I'm hoping this transition that we're going through in our country right now is going to kind of reset that so that we can find our focus in the more important things. I think that we're going to see a lot more stabilization in that, and families get into a higher frequency where they're better parents, better moms, dads, better children, like just spending that time. Our kids want time, you don't
get it back, and it goes fast.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, as this topic, this episode winds down, I just think let's open it. I think the viewers come in and join us. Let us understand like how you've handled things like this at home, personally, with friendships, in the workplace. Like, how have you? What tools and things have you found that are successful for you guys?
Great balance,
Yeah. Like, man, I would love to understand and learn, and I'm not great at it, to be honest with you. So it's an open discussion here, and I think that's one thing that Doug and I really want is this show progresses, is that we want to create a layer of openness for people to join us and understand that it's okay to not be okay at moments. And
so in 6 months, tune in and see how burned out we are.
Yeah, we got trade show season coming up, buddy.
Oh boy, yeah, trade show season. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, basically, what we do, guys, is we send these boosts out. I'm gonna send it out. I got Doug coming in early. I'm not showing up until Monday. He's got the whole thing.
This guy stands there with the instruction manual and looks at it while I'm down on my hands and knees with the impact and putting things together. Oh, that doesn't go there.
Oh, it's because it's called Burnout. I want to make sure I'm protecting myself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So anyways, guys, we look forward to having you guys join us and leave your comments. Thanks for being a part of this. Go to YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Comments are open. Please join in.
Feedback.
Yeah, we'd love it. Until next time, guys, I'm your host, Jeremy Axel, co-host Doug Cox. We appreciate you guys joining us, and have a wonderful day. Appreciate it.
See ya.